So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast and his wondrous team sheet tantrum for Newcastle United versus Aston Villa in St. James's Park with a 3 p.m. kickoff. Paddy, do you know what? It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Isn't it amazing what a difference a week makes? Because this day last week we were kind of going, don't get humiliated against Brentford. Don't get humiliated, please. Where's this club going? This club is going nowhere fast. And Jesus, there was a lot of, I'm getting feedback. But there was an awful lot of that. But as we know now, that isn't the case. And the club are looking forward. And Paddy, even looking at some of the comments there, which we will get to in a second, people are of the mindset that we could go to St. James's Park today and pick something up, which is fantastic. I'm not saying anyone's wrong. I think that's fantastic. And I'm in that mindset too.
I'm in that mindset too, but I'm a little bit apprehensive on the same side because we've seen a really, really good and well-organised Newcastle team haunt a few teams this season. So they've only lost one game. So for us to go and take anything, I think is a really, really good result. So if we were to sneak it and get a win, I think it would be one of the best results of the season. If we were to get a point, I think we'd be very, very happy. But look, it's a huge, huge week in the history of the club. And let today just be the start of that week. And then we look forward to Tuesday when we welcome our new manager, hopefully off the back of 2 positive results and us looking in a whole lot prettier position than we were before Mr. G left the building.
And I think that is fairly safe. And I think that's kind of my feeling as well. Look, if we were to go out today and get beat 3-0, it doesn't really have much of a bearing on me. I wouldn't like it. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't like it, but I'm not going to be sitting here flapping my feathers over it. Because we do have somebody waiting in the wings. I don't think we're going to go out and get beat 3-0 today. I think that Aaron Danks is a man of intelligence, and I think that I think we'll go there with the mentality of being hard to beat and break on the counter with more or less the same team as we mentioned that he played last week.
Yeah, I don't envisage we're going to be set up any differently to we were last week. Why change it? Especially against a team like Newcastle, why go to 1-6 or change anything up any other way? So look, it's going to be an interesting 5 minutes while we wait for this to come in. But I think everybody's just on a little bit of tender hooks at the moment, waiting on this one. I think I'd like to fast forward to 5 o'clock today and just have a deep intake of breath and feel a bit better about life. It's just one of those that's been waiting in the wings. There's a whole lot of history here that's probably been made up by Newcastle themselves and their fans, because we really don't see any rivalry at all, but there is a bit of a rivalry there when it comes to them. So the most important thing is that everybody gets that game, gets there safely, because I heard a bit of a rumpus this morning in the city centre. So just be careful if you're listening to us or watching us on the move around Newcastle. Just be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. The big breaking news for this podcast and this team sheet tantrum is that I'm actually here. I had said previously that I wasn't, and Michael actually just asked, "Why are you not with your daughter, Neil?" Well, would you believe she just took it upon herself to fall asleep? And I took this opportunity. I said, well, I'm not just going to sit and wait for her, I've everything done since 7 o'clock this morning. It's only a case of waiting now. And we're just waiting for some guests to arrive before the little princess has her party. At conveniently enough or inconveniently enough, she decided to have it at 3 p.m., which is also kickoff. Which is, she'll learn as she grows older. Not to have Saturday 3 p.m. kickoffs, just in case, for her birthday party. But look, we'll forgive her this once. Forgive her this once. But she's
the one time we get a 3 o'clock Saturday kickoff, huh?
Yeah. And she's snoring her face off above in bed. So I said, I just jump out for 10 minutes. I will after the team is announced, I will jump off and I'll probably leave Paddy with you in the comments. Oh wait, I forgot to tell Paddy that as well. I'll
Okay.
probably leave Paddy with the comments, and as I say, we want to see what is in store for this.
Yeah, I thought we had some breaking team news there, but it was actually a breaking goal in the academy, as Declan Firth has made it 2-0 against Derby
2-0. Derby County, yeah. And actually, Paddy, just a completely off topic about this game, but we might as well talk about the academy just for one moment. And it's something I meant to bring up in our previous podcasts. But we are like the academy haven't been going great guns on the outset, is what it looks like. Obviously, that they took some heavy defeats in the Papa John's Trophy and the that other cup I can never remember the name of, but I suppose what we're seeing at the moment is we're seeing like 16, 17-year-old boys, which is what they are, playing against fully grown men in a lot of those competitions.
Exactly.
And even at Premier League 2 level, we're seeing 16, 17, 18-year-old boys playing against fully grown men. And that's what we always wanted our academy to be. That's what Christian Purslow said 2 or 3 years ago. And yes, I know I've uttered the man's name, and there's people who still are a bit on the fence about Christian Purslow, but that was the view of the academy bosses, not Christian Purslow. That was the academy bosses, the Mark Harrisons, the likes of those guys who came in here. They wanted young kids playing against men so that it would negate the fact of having to send them out on loan so young. So there might be method to the madness, and as I say, maybe winning isn't everything at that level. As you can see with the likes of maybe Finn Azaz, who's a late bloomer, who's tearing it up with Plymouth at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a full international cap over the next round of internationals that Ireland are playing in.
Fingers crossed. Does that mean we tie him down if he plays in that game?
Yeah,
we don't. Yeah, we don't want another decade.
I'll be honest, Paddy. I think it's ourselves or Lebanon, Yemen, Lebanon, Israel.
I'm doing him the service, but I have it on good authority that he considers himself Irish. So let's cross everything that he would just declare for us and start playing competitive games, and then we have him for good. Yeah. But the most important thing for us now is he comes back into the Villa fold and starts to replicate this at Premier League level. So it's an exciting one, and certainly one to look forward to.
Absolutely. A couple of comments there saying that we're unchanged. I would expect we would be unchanged in this. I don't think Aaron Danks has to ball up his CV and fire it in the bin and rewrite it again over the last 6 days. I would imagine we're going to be unchanged. But as I say, we will wait patiently for the news to break, should it break, and it should be with us any moment now. It should be with us now, I think.
Can I take this moment while we're waiting on it to say thank you very much to somebody? I was left stranded in Dublin Airport last Sunday night, and my son had an exam on Monday morning, and Dinny O'Brien from Nina dropped me all the way to my door, and thankfully my son slept all the way home. So when we got back from Villa Park, it was a major headache for me that thought that buses ran all night. That was not the case. And
do they not run all night anymore?
No, not since COVID, apparently. So we were under savage pressure. And I know Dinny listens to the podcast from time to time, so I will definitely send this one on to him to say thank you very much.
Good man, Dinny. Good man. And the teams have been announced. And you know what that means? Cover your ears if you have sensitive hearing, because it's a team alert. Yeah, it's a team alert. And I need to lengthen that. I know you guys would have no problem with me lengthening that really annoying klaxon sound there. You'd have no problem with me making that maybe a 10-second clip. No? Okay. Oh, you would? All right. But our team to play against Newcastle United today is Emi Martinez in goals, Cash, Konza, Mings and Young unchanged, Dendonker and Luis unchanged, Watkins, Bundia and Bailey behind Ings all unchanged. The bench itself is Robin Olsen, John McGinn, Sanson, Chambers, Bednarek, Coutinho. Digne makes his way back onto the bench, Archer and Jacob Ramsey. With Digne being back on the bench, who has dropped out? Am I right in saying? Because I know Bogard wasn't there last week. Is it Nakamba?
Nakamba, yeah, that'll be right, I'd say.
Nakamba has dropped out. Yeah. So more or less outside of Coutinho or outside of Kamara and Carlos, as full strength as you can get. And gosh, like that bench, Kamara and Carlos.
Yeah.
That would be like that. We've a fairly formidable squad, guys. You know, and I know they're underperforming and they need to go out and still prove it today. But it's a formidable enough squad, and should definitely be able to compete in the Premier League all the way up as far as the top six. And look, as I say, that won't happen because there are other squads that have more magic players. At the risk of sounding Steven Gerrardish, they've got players who can make things happen a small bit easier than our players do. But man for man, player for player, and on paper, you know, there's a squad there that can be molded, and it should bring the likes of Unai Emery some excitement, I think, when he does come through the door early next week. Paddy, no surprise there, I would imagine, for you. You're not in the slightest surprise.
The only concern, I suppose, is that if we were to pick up any injuries in that midfield, the 2 6s that are there, there's nobody to come in there and play an exact role, and that's what Nakamba would do. So that's my only concern looking at that. But no, exactly as I expected with the starting 11, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I think so too. Newcastle United's team is also out. You've got Nicholas Pope, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman, Dan Byrne, Bruno Gomes, Longstaff, Willock, Almiron, Joe Linton, and Callum Wilson. And it's interesting this season that Joe Linton has gone more into that striker's role as opposed to the deep central midfielder that he played last season. He's gone back up into his striker's role, or up into his more forward role, should I say, this season. And it just goes to show that once you get somebody their spark back, their bit of belief back, and it doesn't matter where you put them. You know, I remember back when Ireland went to the World Cup, I think it was in 2002. And bear with me on this one. But Kevin Kilban was playing left wing, and he was absolutely stinking up the shop. And Ian Hart was playing left back, and he was absolutely stinking up the shop. And what they did is they put Kilban at left back, and I can't remember who they brought in at left wing. I think they must have moved Duff back from kind of playing up front into the left wing role, and it just completely kind of transformed that team throughout the course of that World Cup. And it just gave, I don't know what it was or who saw Kevin Kilban going at left back, but it just happened to work for Ireland, and Kilban went on to become, like, to have however many starts in a row for Ireland. So I always think back at that, where somebody has just moved into this spot and you look and you go, like, Kevin Kilban was famous for having his bag of a trick instead of his bag of tricks. He had one trick. That's all he ever had. And that's Kevin Kilban and his bag of trick. That's what it was.
Yeah, well, what we need today is a couple of players with many tricks, and that's going to the winning or getting something out of this game is going to fall on the shoulders of our two wide men.
Yeah,
I think whoever, and as I said in the preview for this, I saw them switch over last week a couple of times. So whoever gets a run on Dan Byrne, I think if we can catch him flat-footed, you've got 5 or 6 yards on him and a good opportunity to get the ball into the box. Where hopefully we did like we did last week and got players as opposed to player into the box, as we have done all season. You know, when you see the opposite winger arriving in and scoring the first goal, the opening goal, Watkins arriving at other times when Bailey had the ball, on top of that, when Dia sitting in that quarterback role on the edge of the area waiting on one to come out to him. But look, that's where the game is going to be won and lost. I think Dan Byrne, if we can get a run on him, I know he's a quick player. There's no need to tell me he's a quick player. His legs are like 7 foot all themselves. Yeah. So he's well able. It's just catching him on that flat foot is what we need to do and run at him. We know we're getting with Trippier, smashing player, smashing defender. Botman, I think, is probably one of the better Premier League players I've seen this year, or defenders I've seen this year. Absolutely smashing. Awful shame. We were linked with him as well. Imagine having him in our armoury along with everything else. But still think we've enough to go and get something out of the game. Again, wouldn't be too disappointed with a draw, but I'm going to go with a 1-0 Villa win.
The substitute bench for Newcastle United is Karius, Lascelles, Shelby, Saint-Maxim, Target, our old friend, Manquillo, Wood, Fraser and Murphy. A nice bench for them as well. Everybody who's listened to this podcast for a long period of time will know my irrational fear of Ryan Fraser. For whatever reason, his name just it's like someone said Beetlejuice 3 times into a mirror. Whenever I hear Ryan Fraser's name, it just sends chills down my back. I've no idea why. But looking at their team, and you mentioned about Dan Byrne, Paddy, I'm glad you said it, because I can't be getting up here on 3 years of saying, Villa will catch Dan Byrne out. They'll catch you out. Damn you, Father Dan Byrne. Was that in Father Ted?
Father Ted.
I don't remember that. I don't remember the reference to Father Dan Byrne. That's excellent. But I'm years saying the Villa are going to catch Dan Byrne on the flat foot. They've never done it, so I'm glad you said it this time, because I'd given up. But I think for myself, I think Buendia trying to isolate Longstaff, I think is probably the area for me, and not just because he's the one. He's probably the least experienced player in there, albeit that he has a ton of experience himself. I think that's something to be done. I agree with C Line there. Not giving away stupid free kicks in the edge of the D will be imperative today. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And do you know how you do that, Lions Eye? You own possession of the ball. That's how you do that. And I think that we might see Aston Villa while we will be cautious, I think that we will try and get our foot in it and play it around between those 2 6s that we have in there. And you try and utilize the ball. Try and if we can keep the ball away from Newcastle for periods of time, get the fans restless, the old cliche of get the fans restless, and then see what happens from there. I think that could be something that could be profitable.
I think something else which is vital to us today. We played a very high line last week. We can't afford to do that today.
No.
The back four need to sit a little bit deeper. We've seen many occasions this year, Newcastle get at teams through that raking ball into the channels, which they've more than enough firepower in there and pace to run at us. So I expected the back four to play a bit deeper, and and that'll be the ultimate to keeping them. But then those free kicks they're dangerous. We can't afford to be making silly errors, and if we do make silly errors, let's hope that Ollie Watkins actually jumps on the wall this time.
My thing is as well with this Newcastle team is, let's remember back to last season when Newcastle just kind of came out of the traps under Eddie Howe. Joe Willock went on this massive scoring spree. Like he was like the highest scoring English midfielder in the Premier League at one stage last season. He just scored a ton of goals in a short period of time, and he looked lethal. And this year, the same is happening with Miguel Almiron. And what Eddie Howe does like to do, and he did it with Bournemouth as well. And once again, maybe this is my therapy. Maybe this is where my irrational fear of the likes of Matt Ritchie and Ryan Fraser come from. Maybe that's where my fear is. That Eddie Howe's tactics are really good at isolating a wing player or an inverted forward on their own at times. When it works really well. And last year, it just strikes me that Willock was getting into these positions to score brilliant goals. Now this year, Almiron is getting into positions to score brilliant goals. There was times when things were clicking for Eddie Howe at Bournemouth, and Fraser was scoring goals. Matt Ritchie was scoring goals, as I said previously. I don't think he ever got so far as getting Dominic Solanke to score an awful lot of goals in the Premier League. But you know what I mean? It's more so the support strikers tend to get these chances and go on these runs of scoring goals when things are working out for the team. So Eddie Howe does have that up his sleeve. And let's hope that maybe Dendonker or somebody there can turn a few people upside down early on today and get them out of their rhythm early. So yeah, I'm going to have to go away in a minute, guys. But just before we do, I'm going to give you my synopsis on what I think the score is going to be. I think that Aston Villa can go there today, and I think that Aston Villa can win 1-0. I absolutely have no problem in saying that Aston Villa can and absolutely have the squad to go and win there today. However, I do think that Aaron Danks is going to go out there, and I do think we're going to be cautious for a good portion of this game. And I think we're going to come away with a 1-1 draw. Aaron Danks keeps his unbeaten record. Aston Villa have 4 points out of 6, leading into Unai Emery, and we go to Manchester United and we catch him on the hop and beat him 24-14. That's my prediction. So I think it's going to be a draw, 1-1 today. Not as I say, but I'll take a 1-0 win every day of the week, and I think Aston Villa can win. The pragmatist in me thinks that it could be a 1-1 draw today, and Aston Villa could go there to stifle more than to entertain.
Very good.
Right, I have to go, guys. Thanks so much for today, Paddy. Do you want to take control of the stream?
I'll continue on. I'll go through the scores for the
brilliant stuff.
The predictions for the. God, we've a bot in there now. There we go.
No, we don't. That's only Pat Max. Pat Max is in there the whole time.
All right.
Oh, you have to block him. Unblock.
You better
Pat
unblock him.
Pat is there. I can't unblock him. Oh no. We'll get you back in, Matt. We'll get you back in, Pat. Pat comes on the whole time and just keeps on consistently posting stuff in there.
All right. Sorry, Pat. I was there going, why is he putting it in 5 times?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll try. I don't know how to unblock you. I didn't block you, but I don't know how to do it. I'll do it offline and see if I can get you back in. Apologies about that. Anyway, I got to run. Guys, thanks a million. We'll see you later up the Villa, and here's to a win at St. James's Park. Over to you, Paddy.
Cheers, Neil. Have a great afternoon and happy birthday to the little one. Let's have a run through the scores. Your score predictions, throw them in there. Apologies, Pat, for booting you out there. I could just see 5 filling up my timeline there. What's going on? Standing on the board said 2-1 Villa. Yeah, absolutely. I'd take that all day long. Any type of result today would make me really, really happy. Phil McManus says 2-1 Villa as well. So he says 4-4. Yeah, I saw an earlier comment from your side there saying that mad stuff is happening in the Premier League this year, so we just can't tell what way this is going to end up. But yeah, 4-4 might be a bit interesting. We had a 4-3 many years ago in the 90s. I think Dwight York scored a hat-trick that night, so that's what that prediction reminded me of. Nicky Cullen says 1-1 and it'll be well earned. It will be well earned. It's going to be a big day today, and it's impossible to tell how it's going to pan out. But we'll go ahead with the predictions. Rachel says, "Have a great day, Neil, and your little one." Absolutely, here. Mark Holmes, good to see you, Spud. 2-1 Villa, Ings and Bailey. Yeah, I'll take that all day long as well. Chrissy Price. Went from Mark Holmes was in Australia to Chrissy Price was in Australia. I don't think it's the Chrissy Price because I can't see her picture. He's got no hair, but we don't care. But 3-2 Villa, that'd be nice. Mika Richards is in there again. Nice to see you again, Mika, up to Villa. Hope it goes well, Neil. He tells us as well there's going to be 1-1. Sniff Rat's going for a board draw. And you take it? Yeah, I'd probably take it too. I'd take a 0-0 now. I'd take any type of draw all day long. Habs Rahman says 3-1 Villa. Yeah, absolutely. Bring him on. Throw him in there. Any mad ones? Ronan Ward says score draw. I'll take it all day long. 100%. Micah Richards says hit the like button. Absolutely. Give us a thumbs up if you haven't done that already. Shane Coleman 2-1 Villa. Absolutely. John Steele goes for a 1-1. Noel Connaughton goes for a 1-1 or 1-0 Villa to win just once. For those of you that don't know that song, it's a Saw Doctor song called To Win Just Once. If you're not Irish, go look it up. Great tune, and it just sums up Villa in many ways. Aidan D says, Son, lose, draw. I just want to see us play good football. So win, lose, draw, I presume you meant to say there. 11v11, anything can happen. Absolutely, 100%. Rachel says 2-1 Toon. I just think they will do it, but I hope it will be close and competitive. Fair comment. It's not going to be an easy one by any stretch of the imagination today. This is a tough test. Andy Max says 3-0 Villa. So he reckons the subs could be the difference today. I think our best team is out there. I don't know what we're going to do with subs, but yes, it's a 5-sub game now, so anything is possible. 5-2 Villa says Geordie Villain. You have a lot invested in this Geordie Villain, I presume, today, and a lot of slagging. Connell, there we go. Just like the Mighty Shells, a 6-0 win. That would be nice, wouldn't it, just? Papa Hex says 3-1 Villa. British Mick, pass on my apologies to Pat Max. He says 10-0 Villa. Chrissy Price is back in. No, I'm not the Chris Price, but it is why I support the Villa. Well, we all have a reason why we're chosen, Chris. And fair play to you. Good to see you in the comments anyway. Ben Coughlin says all the hallmarks of a classic today. I think so. I think it's a case of Aaron Danks' mighty men going out with a lot to prove today. It's his last game in charge of the mighty Villa, so well, presuming all the work permits go to plan on Monday, that is. And I'm sure he won't want it on his copybook of going out and getting beaten by the Barcodes today. So fingers crossed we can go and get something in St James's Park. If anyone is there, drop a note in the comment. Tell us what the atmosphere is like up there at the moment. Dominic Jenkinson says, "Love the Saw Doctors, 5-1 to the lads. DJ in Tulsa." Well, I hope the weather's okay in Oklahoma. We're enjoying a bit of, I won't call it an Indian summer, but it's 17 degrees in Limerick on the last weekend in October. We can't really complain. Unfortunately, the clocks go back tonight and make it a bit darker, but hopefully everything is okay in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Presidente Frank says 2-0 Villa. Jordy Villan is back in. Says, "Aye, big game for me and the wee on this is." Yeah, I can imagine. I can only imagine what it's like being a fan in a city where your team is playing and everyone around you is a fan of the home team. Rex Colt, did we read that one out? 2-1 Newcastle, probably about right. But maybe we could snatch something. I think that's what everybody's thinking is going to be, that, it will be a bit of a snatch and grab, but hopefully we can get out there and score early like we did last week. Lewis Sprigg said 3-2 either way, as long as we try our best. I presume you're trying to say there. Yeah, absolutely. Go out and put on a performance for the lads, and there's a lot needed from our guys to impress Unai Emery, who I understand is not at the match today, but is watching live from whatever part of Spain he's in at the moment. So it'll be he will be watching, and I'm sure he'll be watching many reruns of it during the week in the lead up to that Man United game when he arrives. Paul Miller said 2-1 to the mighty AVFC. Delboy wants to know, good to see you back in, Delboy. Are Dyer and Boyer still mates? I'm sure they are. These things are usually sorted out in the dressing room afterwards. That's actually the last time I was in St James's Park was that mighty day when Gareth Barry kept them apart from probably poking the head off each other. So Davolo Ucranio, I would, in brackets, Kevin Keegan, love it if we beat them today. They're way too cocky right now. And you know what? If we were in that position too, I think we'd be cocky. Absolutely be cocky, because they're in the top four. They deserve to be in the top four. It's a long, long time since we were in the top four, and I'd love to be back up there. And if I was, I would be cocky and walking around in my claret and blue colours like today, Villa and proud. Murdoch says, "Oh, okay, fine. A boring 5-5 draw. I'm not sure I'm able for that today. I'm having a nice, relaxing morning. I'd like a nice, relaxing day where we see a good game of football, not too many goals, and maybe we go and nick it 1-0. I think that would make me a lot happier than a 5-all. See, Lionel, my bum is squeaking already. We're going to get this 2-1 win, and it's going to be tense. I think it will be tense. I think it will be absolutely tense. We're going to wrap it up shortly, but I'll get to a couple more there now. Charlie Kane says 2-1 Villa. Kyle Richardson says 2-2, but would love a late winner, wouldn't we just? Again, not go for the heart, but love a late winner. Audrey Lynch, 2-0 Villa, married to a Geordie, so I hope we hammer them. I'm sure there's quite a few mixed marriages like that as well with a lot of games, so fingers crossed you're the happy one today. I know we have Anne O'Grady in the comments who has 2 Man United fan, or at least one in her house, so she would love the next 2 games to be going Villa's way. So we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Thanks so much for listening. If you haven't already done it, please do give us the thumbs up. I'm going to butcher this now and try and log out, but thanks again. Really appreciate you listening in. Sorry you had to listen to me on my own for the last 10 minutes, but we soldier on without Neil and see how it goes. Enjoy the game today. Get yourself on the couch, as Neil would say. Hopefully we'll be back at some stage later on, or maybe tomorrow. I don't think Neil is going to be able to see the game, so we might have to wait till he's finished the rerun, let's call it, later on, and then we'll get back on and we'll have a chat about it. And it's going to be a busy week, I would imagine, in with the podcast. We're going to be looking at a lot of podcasts talking about what Unai Emery has to say when he comes in. Wishing everybody a good evening. Let's say it properly and keep him happy. And we'll look forward to enjoying the next couple of weeks before we go into that World Cup that nobody's really looking forward to. So for now, all that's left to say is up the Villa.